I think my cousin's going today as well. He messaged yesterday to say he's going to be making the most of Daniel Levy's free food.
I mean, before the game, half time of the game, after the game.
I don't think it's going to be free for all in the way that you think it's going to be free for all. I
think it fucking is, mate.
I think you're going to get a little token.
Captaincy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything revolves around nothing now. No, nothing, nothing. No money, no nothing, James. Wagwan.
Wagwan, how you doing?
If anybody's listening to this on audio in your headphones, just head over to youtube.com/planetfpl. Watch it in video because we are in the same room. We've hugged, we've licked, we've kissed, everything. We're good.
Yeah,
we didn't do any.
I was going to say, do you want to say about the rest?
Nice.
Was it been 6 months? 6 months?
It's been a long time. Have we not seen each other even in that time?
No.
Wow.
No.
Time flies though. Yeah.
No,
Time absolutely flies.
I haven't seen any humans in about 6 months. And that includes the fact I live with my wife and my son.
Nice. So we're going to get into Sky Fantasy Football and the last few days. You've got no transfers. I've got 6. We're going to use 5 today live. But before we do, we've got to announce the 24th of July, our FPL meetup at the Editor's Tap in London. Make sure you get yourselves down. Manchild's walking away. Manchild, are you coming on the 24th of July?
Where else would I be?
Exactly. And yesterday, I met our friend Tom Cantle. Shout out to Phantom Mantle, who said that I was rocking my trainers. So, have you ever watched Chicken Connoisseur?
Do I look like any sort of connoisseur to you?
Have you never watched the young kid who goes and reviews chicken shops? Chicken Connoisseur.
I do know the guy. Yeah, but he slated chicken in Tottenham High Road and I can't be having it.
He starts every video with a crep check, boom, bow. On feet today, we have the Nike Air Max 90s custom edition. He was loving my trainers was Phantom Mantle, so we've got to do a crep check at the start of every episode now. Although, I only have 2 pairs of trainers, so after the second episode, we're done. That's all my trainers done.
You can afford more.
I probably could, but it's not a good use of money. So, Sky.
Yeah, dead.
Dead.
I am down to 58th.
Okay.
In trying to win this game over the last few weeks, things have things have got slightly worse for me. I'm in a position where I'm probably not winning the majority of mini leagues now either, so it's a little bit of a disappointing end, but I think it's a good time to take stock and reflect on the whole season, and to be 58th in the second season, I think actually overall, I'm reasonably happy with that. If you'd said that was going to be my rank pre-season, I'd take that. I would have to have probably a disaster from here on in not to finish in the top 100 and 30 points clear of 100. So it should finish in the top 100. Be nice to still finish in the top 50 or so, but I can affect very little now with 2 games to go and no transfers. I used my final transfer on Friday for a fucking disaster, mate. So, I decided on Friday, we had a heads up. I'd bought Nick Pope last Monday when Burnley played Fulham. We had a heads up on Friday from various sources that Pope was probably, and he could play for Burnley tonight against Liverpool, but a heads up that there was every chance he was going to miss the rest of the season. So I decided, we'll go Edison last 3 games.
Not in the team.
No Edison in the team. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, I'll go Diaz instead. It's not in the team. I'll go John Stones instead. It's not in the team. It was like 4 5th choices as well were out. I can't remember who the other 2 were, but I had it in my mind. 5 Man City players, any one of them plays, I'm buying them, and none of them were starting. I was like, you're joking. Why I didn't consider Cancelo in hindsight, obviously got sent off last night.
Yesterday, so it's not really...
No, but you would have taken the captain points from last week and be quite happy with that. Similar to how I was with Pope against Fulham. I never considered Ferran Torres for a fucking second, mate, honestly. The only other one I really looked at from City, I wasn't going to buy Sterling because I couldn't get a forward in for the 3 that I had. Shout out to a friend of the show, Sean Retty, who did get Ferran Torres and captained him and smashed up to 3rd overall from 8th on Friday night. And he's now within 30 points of the lead. It's going to be tough from there, but it's got half a shot.
Yeah. One massive.
I never considered Ferran Torres for a minute. The only Man City player I really debated other than Cancelo was Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
And the conclusion I came to was that because of the Pope problem, I was still better off getting a goalkeeper. Now, I obviously wasn't going to buy Scott Carson. So, yes, I bought the Newcastle goalkeeper to captain him before they played Manchester City. You need your head checked, right? But what I was thinking was, well, it's 4 versus 0. Even if he gets me a 2-pointer in that game. And I was looking at it, I couldn't see anyone in the City lineup who I thought would go big. It's easy to say in hindsight that Ferran Torres did, to kind of really make that differential. And what the conclusion I came to was, there's every chance we're getting 4 games effective, Dubravka versus Pope. Plus, Man City can't fucking put a penalty away for toffees if they get one.
You might get a save out of it.
That's what I was thinking. Who could go biggest here? And I was thinking, in the unusual circumstance that it finished 0-0 and Newcastle won 1-0, could Dubravka end up on a 12-pointer or a 17-pointer or something and double it? And that's why I went with him. Now, obviously, the bastard got a -1, didn't he? Didn't really work out. And that's how my season kind of came to an end, essentially, from a transfer perspective. Saturday, I can't even remember. I captained Rafinha Saturday, which was the right choice over Lingard. That was all I had. Sunday, would help if I looked at the right fucking game week, wouldn't it, James? Sunday, I captained Harry. No, I captained Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
You went with DCL.
Against Sheffield United, yeah. He's done all right for me. I know a lot of people whinged about him. I've had some good returns off him, some bad returns off him. But that was another bit of a blow with obviously Harry returning against Wolves, hitting shot tiers and whatnots. Last night I captained Bruno over Rafinha and the Leicester guys. Ironically, Iheanacho would have been the best choice for me. So I'm left with Dubravka, Robertson, Holding, Alexander-Arnold, Lingard, Maddison, Fernandes, Rafinha, Harry Kane, Iheanacho, Calvert-Lewin. My plan is to captain Harry Kane tonight. And then Sunday, probably Trent, but it might be Iheanacho.
Nice.
That's
Probably
my season
Trent.
done.
I can't pull up my team on screen because we've moved into this kind of studio space. The Wi-Fi doesn't reach from over there because of a brick wall. So I'm gonna tell you my team.
You know it.
And then
This is a surprise in itself.
Don't worry, I'm going to tell you my team, and I'm going to walk quickly over there to grab my phone to get it. And we're going to make 5 transfers live right now as it stands, because I've got 6 to go and I'll use 1 on the final day. So we're going to make 5 transfers today. You ready?
I don't mind you doing it now because technically, I'm at Tottenham tonight. I've got a ticket, so I ain't sending you a reminder at 5 o'clock. Do your Sky team.
Let's
and
just
you
get
ain't
it done.
you ain't gonna remember.
No, I'm not bothered about this whole rotation and all that. We'll just get it done. 5 transfers. I have Patricio in goal. My back 3 is Dallas, Cancelo, and Azpilicueta.
Cancelo definitely goes 100%. Yeah.
My midfield: Maddison, Lingard, Bruno, and Kevin De Bruyne. And up front, I have Son, Iheanacho, and Jota. So Jota goes. Iheanacho goes.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But
Son stays.
Maddison would go, wouldn't he?
Maddison can go. Kevin De Bruyne.
I would sell Fernandes.
And Fernandes.
I don't think Fernandes
So
will
we're
play
selling
again.
Cancelo, Fernandes, Maddison, Jota, and another. Should we sell Patricio?
He's got a game tonight.
Yeah,
and it'd be a very weak United team. I don't think that's the priority. Ideally, yes, but
Cancelo's suspended, so
Cancelo won't play the final. So
yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, or do you think he could come back for the last game of the season before Champions League?
I'd probably bin it personally.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to have lying there.
I could see him maybe even only playing an hour or so on Sunday. I think he probably will start. He was on the bench last night, but I'd probably bin it. You need to. I think this is sensible advice for the majority of people. Those who are looking to, who have got transfers left, make them tonight.
Indeed.
Rather than Sunday.
Entertain people. I'm going to get this phone.
All right, fine, I shall. So options looking at tonight's games. Obviously, you've got Everton, Wolves. I don't think you'd invest in either. I think if you had sort of the Calvert-Lewin or so, you'd already have it. They've obviously got a difficult last game at Manchester City. For Wolves, no particular interest. Newcastle does hold some interest. Joe Linton could be a cheeky outside shout. St. Maximin, I probably wouldn't bother with them defensively. I know our Newcastle correspondent, FPL Footballer, had said that he actually thought Cole Darlow would play one of the last 2 games. Yes, I brought Martin Dubravka. Sheffield United, I don't think you bother with, although I think they might do all right in the 2 games, but for Sky Fantasy, you wouldn't bother. Spurs, you can obviously target. Kane, Son, Bale, Højbjerg, every chance you'll pick up passing tiers in both of the 2 games are interesting ones. Hugo Lloris as a goalkeeper, maybe. Villa, Martinez, Watkins, but it's two difficult games with Tottenham and Chelsea. Palace, I think that ship has sailed if you wanted to go into it, but Benteke's a man in form, might not be the worst shout. Wilf Zaha will probably let you down. Arsenal, I wouldn't go near.
Nah.
You could take a punt on Aubameyang. I was like, here we go again.
Make transfers. Right, Cancelo's going, mate.
Obviously, Joe Willock from Newcastle is another one potentially to mention. But I think your main target here, Suj,
Liverpool.
Liverpool and West Ham.
So I'm buying Trent for Cancelo. Job done.
Yeah.
I'm buying...
Get
rid
Salah
of
in.
Jota.
Who's your forwards?
Jota, Son and Iheanacho.
Jota, Sonny and Asho.
So Son's staying.
Yeah, I would go Jota to Salah, mate,
Yeah,
personally.
I don't have enough money, so we're going to have to find some money.
We'll find that. That won't be a problem once you start
so
binning
now I've got
Bruno Fernandes bin.
Madison can bin and get
Yeah.
Antonio.
Yep, great.
Nice. What is this app?
You could get Jesse
Having a
Lingard as well.
Oh, I've already got Jesse Lingard.
You got Jesse. Okay.
Yeah.
Ditch Bruno. Are you starting again?
I don't like the app. Maybe it's I've got fat fingers, James.
I've got little fingers.
Yeah, I've got fat fingers.
Salah up front, I think, definitely. I think that one advice I'd give on Salah versus Kane tonight, particularly. I think Sunday, nearly everyone's going to captain Salah. But tonight, I think quite simply, if you're happy with your rank and you're defending, captain Salah. And if you're not, and you're chasing, go Kane or someone else. That would be my advice for tonight. I mean, admittedly, you're chasing, so you might want to consider Son versus El Mohammadi tonight as a bit of a differential,
Yes,
maybe,
it's
perhaps.
a possibility.
There's not really much point you captaining Salah tonight, I think.
I also have two more. So we talked about binning De Bruyne and Fernandes. Should we bin him?
Yeah, Antonio's definitely going to be one, isn't he?
He's already in for Madison, mate.
He's in for Madison.
So I could fit in two midfielders.
I'll give you a shout.
And I have 29 million. I don't even think I could
How many
spend it.
midfielders are you left with? Just Lingard and Antonio?
Lingard and Antonio.
Right, so you only need one more. I would go Thiago of Liverpool.
Why?
Passing tiers, highly likely to be there in the two games. Potential for tackle tiers as well. He's been a little bit more advanced in the last couple of games as well. So you've got an outside shout of a goal like what he got against Southampton. I'd go Thiago over Fabinho, I think. Just a little bit of an outside shot of something offensively.
Don't fancy Jack Grealish as a punt for the last.
Will he even start, mate? They've got Tottenham and Chelsea as well.
Torres for City.
No, Torres got one game left. You're not buying him tonight. I really think you should just be targeting Liverpool, West Ham in the main, mate.
Thiago is in. That gives me... Oh,
Your phone's died.
battery dead.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I made a schoolboy error yesterday. I didn't charge my phone overnight. So I've got one. I can afford any other midfielder. I had 29 million.
I would go from what you're going with there. You want Salah, Antonio. You've got Lingard. I'd probably go Thiago, I think, of Liverpool.
Trent. And then I've got one other. I don't have to buy a midfielder. Why don't I buy Robertson?
Yeah, exactly that.
Trent, Robbo, Thiago,
So you're buying 4 Liverpool.
Salah, and Antonio.
There
That
you go.
sounds an interesting.
And then you've got one more for Sunday when one of them gets left out of the team,
Yeah, that's true.
which you'll have to try and remember today.
Well, at least we'll know the teams on Sunday.
How
so.
have you managed to land with 6 transfers left at this stage? I fucking wish I don't wish I had 6, but I wish I had about 2
I think
left.
it's the devil. Like, we've talked to a number of Sky players over the years in terms of interviews and stuff. And the beauty of Sky is obviously that there is something to play for at the end in terms of cash, whereas FPL there isn't. But that's also the devil, right? Because I've got to the point probably about 4 weeks ago where I was like, I'm not winning any money here. So it's almost like there's not as much pride in Sky just to finish high because they don't store your ranks and you're not looking historically and no one kind of really...
no.
People don't look at it in
Episode
that way.
1 of season 3. Yep, I finished 12th last year and you finished 88th.
Yeah, something like that.
We might get called out.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so it's kind of just got to the point where it wasn't a priority. And actually FPL, I'd been making ground in the last few weeks up until last week.
Till last night.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'd had like, on the last 15 weeks, I'd only had 2 red arrows, but it just was so slight and incremental every week that my focus was on FPL and trying to close that gap, and Sky became second priority. It's like you're either winning the money or you may as well not bother with Sky. That's the way I felt about it.
I think...
And also, I felt disappointed in myself earlier in the season. there was a lot of good stuff that you had done earlier in the season, say like game week between the first overhaul and the second overhaul, in terms of identifying 3-for-2s, 3-for-1s, whatever. And I was more conservative back then, and I held back, and it just put me on a disadvantage from way back then that I never managed to claw back. So this time around, I'm going to plan it with a little bit more aggression next season.
Next week, we'll talk about some of these good transfers and some of these bad transfers that I've experienced this season. I certainly wish I had more left now.
Yep.
I think, like everybody, there's been a certain impact on that in terms of injuries, suspensions and stuff. It's been difficult for many fantasy managers this year. Last year, I got to the end and I had too many transfers left and finished really well. But then I was allowed to take luxuries like buying Pope towards the end, Mason Greenwood, things like that.
You'll never have the right amount of transfers, will you? You could do with a couple more right now, maybe.
But this time, I probably went, because last year I was still on about 37 transfers when we got to November. I'd only used about 3.
Yeah.
So I had too many left at the end. This time it went a little bit too far the other way. I in terms of, say, steaming into Man City, I was never ahead of people. I was always behind. So you look at it in hindsight and go, was it even worth steaming into them at all? Would I have been better off just saying, I'm going to lose ground here a little bit and holding an extra, because it's not just getting them in, you're selling them again as well. You're saving about 6 transfers there or so by restricting on how heavy you go into Man City, for example. But it still did well for me, and I had to hang on to everybody else while I was doing that. But perhaps I might have made these gains during April with more transfers, or be able to make last minute moves now. Like, I mean, Bruno Fernandes sitting in my team. There's 2 game days left, and I don't think he plays at all. So
well, one game day for him, but yeah, I get it.
But to have been able to sell him tonight for Antonio, for example, would have been ideal. I can't make that sort of move, obviously. In fact, in my case, I could have moved into a defensive player because of somehow landed with 4 in midfield. So, yeah, I want to next week talk about some of the lessons learned from the season in terms of good transfers, bad transfers. You haven't got a phone or a computer at the moment, have you?
The computer's loading up the Twitter questions that we've had in.
Oh, you've got them?
Let's have a look. We've got the little Tweety bird here.
I don't trust it's going to work. Shall I just get them up, mate?
Yeah, why don't we?
I think it's going to be the best way to go because you'll be there forever. This coming back into the studio didn't go so well, did it?
Nah.
Right, questions.
Yes.
FPL Binge Stian. As you know, I don't play Sky. That's a very good start.
Yeah, but at least he listens.
Yeah.
Give the man credit for listening.
But have you had the feeling when you really need to pee, but the game is just too important? Chelsea had me bursting at the seams last night. You ever been at a game and you've been too desperate to win and you got to go?
Nah, I'll just go. But what stops me quite often is just I don't want to disrupt everybody else. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to like get up, make everyone move while I go down, so I'll hold it. But now, the thing is, right, I've got kids who I'll take to the games, and they'll always need a tactical wee. And so it's quite simple. When they have one, you have one.
Okay.
It's a really good strategy. When they have one, you have one. Job done. So I've been all right, to be honest with you.
The only one I really had bad was we played at Villa in the year Leicester won the league, so 15, 16. And seriously, had some. If you've ever been to Villa away and been in the Witten Arms before the game, which is a great venue for away fans, you're going to put some beers away. Well, I went in the ground absolutely hammered. So did my dad. It was fucked. I could not make it to half time. So all you end up doing for the last 10, 15 minutes is thinking about going for a wee.
You may as well just go get it done and come back. It ruins it.
I got to about the 42nd minute. I went, I can't fucking take this anymore. I'm going to literally piss myself. So I went. And there was loads of other people saying the same thing. God, bruv, I just couldn't hold it, mate. I had to go. Came back up the gangway, and as I got to the top of the stairs, Harry Kane was going through 1-on-1, and he scored.
Oh, yeah.
All the only person that was near me was a steward, so he got the cuddle, didn't he? He was happy at all.
I've missed quite a few goals where I've been in the toilet, and you hear the roar. But what's worse is not the goal roar, because a goal roar is a goal roar. You know the whole stadium's erupted. That's a goal, right? It's the kind of halfway house where you're like, what's happened? Like, is it a bad foul? Is it a penalty? What is it? You don't know. That's the worst in the toilets. I did a couple of clever things though, James. My season tickets now are aisle seats, so that solves the whole headache of having to get in and out. Literally just straight down the gangway and I'm done. And also, secondly, stop drinking before the games.
Can be a problem.
Anyway. Stop drinking before the games.
Always piss just before the game, even if I haven't drunk now.
Yeah.
Because the older you get, particularly in the cold now as well, right?
Yeah.
It's just not the same, is it?
James, I got all the questions up. So
you do the questions.
Back in the seat. Shout out to Paul, Sky Player and FPL, who says no question. He says, just a massive thank you and congrats on a great Sky season for you, obviously. Looking forward to when we get to go again. Me as well. And maybe, you never know, maybe we should speak to Paul in the summer and see how he got on and all that jazz. We've got a whole summer to kill. I hope you're keeping well, Paul.
He's had a little one, hasn't he? So he's had a difficult fantasy season, I think. But no I've seen him close to me in leagues and stuff. I think he's finished quite well, I think.
Good. Tom Hartnell, again, thank you for the great work this year. He's going to use his final transfer to get rid of Bruno today. He's number one in his mind to get in is Antonio. But would you guys consider anything else? Has to be a midfielder based on his squad formation.
Yeah, I think midfielder Antonio is very straightforward, isn't it? You look at the other teams playing tonight, and I don't think anything strikes out from a midfield perspective that you'd think. Yeah,
with the fixtures, and there's every chance he could go big.
The only one I could maybe think as a punt, if he was back in the team, would maybe James.
Yeah.
Against Wolves, but I mean, I've got Man City away last day as well. Difficult to think he'll outscore Antonio over the two games. Tottenham doesn't appeal. Liverpool, talking about Thiago and Fabinho, it's nice for the passing tiers, but it's not really what you want to be buying with 2 games to go. You want someone who can potentially explode like Ferran Torres did on Friday night. So definitely Antonio. I think for those looking defensively or offensively, as I said, Salah's the obvious one, definitely. But if you're looking to chase, it's not the ideal, and actually someone like Son or Bale might be the differential, at least unlike in obviously FPL, you'll get to see if Bale's in that team tonight for Tottenham. So their differentials defensively would definitely prioritise Liverpool. But if you need to fiddle a few things about, Sufal, for example, at West Ham, Cresswell is always capable of getting attacking return and a clean sheet. Liverpool, West Ham would be your main 2 targets to buy tonight, I think.
Yeah, just get Antonio done. It's the best midfield option.
Yeah.
Talon Nadeem, who's been doing particularly well this year as well. You might have noticed from my comments that this is one of only 2 pods that I've listened to throughout the season, starting with the beginner's guide. So extremely thankful to each and every episode. Pleasure.
Cheers, pal.
No question.
He's smashing it. I think he's second in the Planet FPL Mini League at the moment, I think, Tala.
2 days to go, Tala. Hope you do well. Ian Parrin jumping in as well. Again, no question, but he does have a couple of answers, which is interesting.
Go on then.
These are kind of 2 simple statements, which I think we've talked about. 1, use it on Wednesday. 2 games are better than 1. I mean, that's solid
100%,
advice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And question number 2, Salah if you're leading in your mini league, someone else if you're chasing.
There you go, same thing.
Exactly
same
that.
thing.
It's amazing how Ian's got a
Ian's had a brilliant run in Sky as well. That's such straightforward advice. I remember last year when City had Watford on the Wednesday and then they had Norwich on the final day, and there was a lot of people saying they wanted to wait to Norwich for the final day to see the team and then steam into the right captain and stuff. But you could see the team versus Watford.
Yeah.
Steam into now. So I, if I remember right, I think I had 3 left last year. I think I bought 3 City players that day.
Yeah.
Sterling was definitely one who did all right, I think. Might have been Jesus and someone else maybe. But it's the same thing, particularly for those of you who've seen the team tonight. Like West Ham and Liverpool, you don't, do you?
No, we're playing late, unfortunately.
West Ham, we can pretty much predict the team, can't we? And we know Antonio's going to play, Lingard's going to play, Cresswell's going to play.
Yeah, the only question mark would be whether Ben Rama gets back into the team, but I don't see it. I see him playing Fornals, Lingard and Bowen behind Antonio, Rice and Souček, Sufal, Craig Dawson. Maybe Bonner gets in ahead of Diop back again, and then Cresswell on the left and Fabianski in goal.
Would you pick, if you would change your goalkeeper tonight, would you go Fabianski, Alisson or someone else? Alisson's obviously admittedly got to be affordable.
Yeah, I mean, and he's the goal scoring machine now, isn't he? Becca.
Well, it could happen again.
I'd probably go Fabi. I think Fabi's a fair shout. Because we don't know if Ingsy is going to be fit for Sunday, do we? So
Ingsy? Yeah, he came on last night. So he'll start Sunday, fine. Danny Ings,
Ingsy, yeah, he's the only risk. Southampton game, I think we won't keep a clean sheet in that.
Can just say, if I had loads of transfers left, I would have bought Danny Ings on Saturday.
Okay.
And he would have done absolutely fuck all.
Yeah,
I would have captained him, nothing. Last night, nothing.
FPL off spinner. Bruno to Trent as a final transfer to get 2 games. I mean, Trent anytime.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Sounds a good
Yep.
one. Andy P also saying that he's enjoyed the podcast this year. I definitely think we're going to sit back over the summer and think, how can we make it even better for next season? So if you have any ideas, just tweet us.
Yeah, you make some transfers would be a good idea.
No. We need some comedy in the show. Danny Wright. I really enjoyed the pod's enthusiasm and on knowledge and honest opinions. Love it. Keep it going. Bruno out for which Liverpool asset? Robbo or Thiago or other defender? Trent. He already has Trent and Salah and cannot get a striker.
I would go Robertson over Thiago.
Okay. Now we've talked about Liverpool and West Ham. His second bit is, or would you just go Antonio over Robbo or Thiago?
Yeah, I'd go Antonio.
Over Robbo or Thiago.
Yeah, because I just think the upsides there. Robertson, with the 2 teams they've got left to play, Burnley and Palace, there's every chance him and Trent could both hit passing tiers. Robertson's very capable of the odd tackle tier as well. And of course the threat is there of the attack in return. But Antonio, Norwich last season, is capable of that sort of thing, isn't he? I mean, it's Antonio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get the attacking player for the last 2 games if you can. It's like having 4 forwards, isn't it, basically?
Yeah. Ron, Mints at SkyFF, highlight and low light of both your Sky Fantasy Football seasons. As an aside, thank you for the excellent pods. Loved every single one of them. Appreciate the love. There's a lot of love today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So James's biggest low light was when he was playing with his tip.
Joel Matip.
Joel Matip defines this Sky season.
I think highlight will be that I never actually bought Aubameyang. Would be the highlight.
He's probably been pimped up as Aubameyang can decide who wins SkyFF this year, and neither of us have ever owned him.
Well, I bet you it will, because I bet whoever wins it, I bet they didn't buy Aubameyang.
Nah.
I mean, it's not the worst punt tonight if you've got a forward issue.
Nah, we're not going there.
Would you consider Fernandes to Aubameyang tonight?
Nah.
Palace and Brighton to go? No, neither would I. I'd rather go for a Liverpool player, even Trent, Robertson, personally, I agree.
Yeah.
Joel Matip was brilliant when I got him the first time. That was probably the biggest mistake of the season, was when I bought Matip when Liverpool played Burnley and Salah was a sub and I panicked. That said, he was 5 minutes away from like an 18-pointer and then they conceded the penalty, he conceded. He got booked as well, didn't he? He was on passing tiers, he was close to it and never hit it. When it looked like it was going to be a 10-pointer at half time, it ended up being a 1-pointer, and then Salah came off the bench anyway, so it was a complete waste of a transfer. And nearly scored, Salah. That was my biggest mistake of the season. I guess the one that's been most pleasing was, I think, when you go against the herd and it works for you. So keeping Lewis Dunk for me.
Yeah,
ironically,
it's always that, isn't it?
It wasn't the buying the player; it was actually the not selling the player.
I love situations that have happened a couple of times this season. Stuart Dallas springs to mind, where you captain a player because he's your only player in that game, and then they come in with a 15-pointer doubled up to 30. You're like, yes, Dallas.
Dallas had a few of them.
Yeah, he's been with me all season as Dallas.
As I said,
stalwart.
I think it might have even been this pod last week. He have to be in contention for fantasy player of the year, I think.
Yeah, I think so. You're right. Mike Neve 81, James, says, a very important question which may have been asked before. Is it Luke Disable's voice on the opening tune on Spotify?
Definitely not.
Never been asked before.
No.
And definitely not.
No.
I mean, Luke had an amazing guest slot on the show probably a couple of months ago, what have you. But it's not his voice on the music.
Definitely not his voice. It's not ours either. Or it's not even Manchild's either.
Phantom Mantle, where did you guys finish last season? I can't remember. Have you exceeded expectations of where you thought you'd come this season? Nah, probably behind. What are your aims for next season? I think top 500 next season I'd be happy with.
Okay, we made an improvement. I finished, I was 270th roughly. To be honest, I never screenshotted or anything, schoolboy era. I finished about 270th last year and I was constantly on the rise. For the end, that wasn't like dropping from 100. I was never above that, what I finished basically. Am I pleased with where I am? I think I'll reflect on at the end of the season and go, yeah, that's okay. The game's getting harder. I learnt more things this year. It's only second season. Target next year is to finish first. That has to be the target. I think a few risks I took on people like Maddison, for example, we look back on it in hindsight and I definitely could have made better use of that transfer, but that was trying to go for it a little bit. So No regrets. I've definitely learned some lessons this year. As I said, I want to talk about some of them next week.
Benny Blanco is trying to cash out, mate. He's trying to cash out. Want to go halves on the Planet FPL Mini League. This shit is too stressful. Are you 2 1 and 2 or something?
We are in one particular league. There's like nothing between us. 6 points. 6 points between us.
Squeaky bum time.
I mean, to be honest, if he's got Salah, there's no reason he should cash out. He should be obviously captaining Salah in the last 2 games because I can't. He knows I can't. That's not me lying. I can't play him. There's nothing I can do. So although Benny, I don't know if Benny does have Salah, but if he does, he should catch me really.
Yeah.
It will be us 1 and 2 with what's left in
Hoping
the league.
Benny makes it down to London for the meet-up for sure. Someone else who is going to be there is Dave Simple Goal, who says he's looking forward to buying us both a pint in July. I'm happy with that. I tell you what, buy a cocktail because it's 2 for 1 all day that Saturday, and then you only have to buy 1 drink and you give 1 to him, 1 to me. Job done.
Oh, that's
I'm
such a bad idea.
The listeners' money, James. Dave's question we've already answered. Guess what? Antonio or Robbo? Go with Antonio. Have a little bit of fun.
Go with Mickey.
Crack on, son.
Go with Mickey. He'll get injured tonight.
Amber Batman Joe. He's 800th in the world. 0 transfers left. When can he start counting his £50,000?
In about 12 months, pal.
Yeah, I was going to say, about a year from now, you might be all right. You know what I was interested in? Thinking about planning next season.
Joe shared the cup trophy last year, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think there was a point earlier in the season, I think it might have been Ian Parron that ran the numbers, where it feels like football's dragged out, where we've got 4 match days every single week and so on and so on. But there weren't actually that many more match days this year than last year at the same time. I think there was only like 5-6 days difference in it. And I'm interested in next season with less match days, if it becomes easier, because you're not having to use transfers to cover captaincy days and that kind of thing. I'm interested to know how many match days there were last year and this year. I mean, someone somewhere's got the data. And the stats.
Ian will have the data.
Yeah. And
thanks in advance, Ian.
I mean, I feel like it would have been shitloads more this year because of the way football's been dragged out. But I bet it's probably not that many more captaincy days year on year.
I think there's been plenty more. Ian will know the numbers.
Yeah, I remember when we looked at it, it was like 125 versus 120 or something like that.
I think it's
small difference.
It's probably about 15 more or so, I think, I would guess. Thanks, Ian, in advance. Tell us.
No, you don't have to do it, mate.
No, Ian will tell us anyway. Whether he wants to or not, he just will.
Scott McDonald, Salah or Kane for the last captaincies? I mean, it's golden
Depends what
boot
you're doing.
time.
Depends what you're
chasing
doing.
Kane.
If it's a straight choice, genuinely for me, Salah over Kane in the 2 games, just because Kane's obviously got a very difficult fixture at Leicester at the weekend. So definitely Salah over Kane, just generally speaking. But if you're looking to chase and your opponent's got Salah, I think you should punt Kane and take the chance.
Yeah. Mark Williamson, again, another thank you. Appreciate it. And he wants to know the main lessons learned from this season. In addition to that, the season keeper's also saying thank you as well. Mark, next week will be a biopsy, autopsy, dissection, whatever you want to call it.
I was going to say we'd go through some of your highlights and lowlights. We probably can't remember half of them without listening to all the pods back.
I mean, when will they close the game off that you can't hit back and look at all your weeks, right? When they relaunch, I'm assuming.
Well, I've got it all in an Excel, so
that's fine.
It's fine. Doesn't particularly matter. Yeah, I just want to look at some lessons learned from the season. I think that can help us a little bit for next week. We're going to continue the Sky Pods till June the 2nd. So I think we've still got another 3 Sky Pods to do, or 2 at least.
Sounds about right. Next week and the week after.
And I've got an idea for something that you'll be interested in from a Sky perspective on the 9th of June as well. So we'll keep you going up till the Euros.
Yeah, always worth listening. Always worth listening. We'll have a laugh. Last question, James, goes to Chris, FPL Sky Addict. Thanks for the pod each week. It has helped a lot on planning and so on and so on. With the games on Sunday at the same time, who do you think could beat the big 3 as a captain pick? The big 3 being Kane, Salah, Bruno. Now, we know Bruno might not even play, so is there anyone...
specifically?
No, Sunday.
I think Trent is an option. And I also throw Iheanacho back into that as well.
Scored again yesterday, right?
They're the 2 that I'll probably consider for captaincy on Sunday, I think, personally. Obviously, if you've got a Man City player and they're playing, that could be very interesting, particularly if Everton have a bad result against Wolves tonight, they might kind of just turn up and not give a shit about it. But I think, Trent, Iheanacho are definitely two. Antonio against Southampton. Yeah. There's a few.
City have got low ownership, right? If you go into the final day with one transfer, if I went into the final day with one transfer, and I know the City lineup, which we will, I think they're the one that I'd take a punt on.
And also Leeds against West Brom, Dallas, Rafinha, Bamford, all reasonable options. We'll
see tonight. I think what happens with West Brom, West Ham tonight will dictate how I feel about the Leeds West Brom game. Like, how much of West Brom going to just down tools because the season's done? That we'll know.
Well, if West Ham lose tonight, technically Leeds could still finish above you. The goal difference would be about 5 different. And you know them, they play the same whether it's 1-0 or 5-0 anyway.
Right? So, big game tonight. Feels a little bit of an anticlimax, if I'm honest with you, but it could be quite different depending on what happens in the Spurs game before, which you are going to. We're going to do a preview of that on Tottenham for the Patreons, but for the regular listeners anyway, may as well talk about it. You excited?
For tonight?
Yeah,
of course I am.
First time back at the lane for
it's a little bit weird because this is the first time, for just the benefit of the Sky listeners, the first time I've seen you for 6 months. So
it didn't even feel like that though, because we see each other every day.
I guess
6
so.
months
but just being in it here in an open room and actually seeing a human while I'm talking is a little bit different. So I kind of got my mind on that. Plus, I think going to the cup final a couple of weeks ago killed my first, as in I haven't been in a football stadium. Ironically, it's probably taken a little bit of nostalgia away from going back to Tottenham. I think once I get in the ground, I'll be like, thank fuck, I'm back home stuff.
Yeah. I think my cousin's going today as well. He messaged yesterday to say he's going to be making the most of Daniel Levy's free food.
I mean, before the game, half time of the game, after the game.
I don't think it's going to be free for all in the way that you think it's going to be free for all. I
think it fucking is, mate.
I think you're going to get a little token. You know the raffle books.
It can't get some COVID.
Everyone's walking in. I can imagine them giving you a little raffle book that gets you a cup of tea and a hot dog, and that's it.
Mate, the marketplace at Tottenham, there's so many different options from food. I'm having a little bit of all of them. Yeah, chicken and chips. I mean, I have one bit of chicken and a couple of chips and fuck off and have a pizza.
Oh, James is talking about food. It's 11:10. It's making me hungry for lunch. Chicken and chips for lunch today, James?
No, I'm not eating nothing until I get to Tottenham, mate.
Oh, dear. Yeah, fantastic. Look, Sky listeners, you've got 2 match days left. Make the most of it, enjoy it, don't stress too much about it. Good luck in your mini leagues wherever you are, and let's get this season done and dusted so we can all go again, because I think that's what a lot of people are looking forward to, the chance to start again afresh. We'll be having some fun with it over the summer, but we'll be back next week with a dissection of our seasons, and we'll definitely be having a bit of fun with that.
Yeah, just before we finish, I'd just like to give a shout out to the other content creators on Sky, because there's not as many out there as there are in the FPL bubble, but you've all done sterling work this year, and good luck for the last 2 game days.
There we go. What do we have left for the listeners for the rest of this week? Main pod tomorrow.
Running down
all of the midweek games.
Yeah. Clash of Correspondence Friday and Saturday, if it's useful for the Sky listeners. Fulham versus Newcastle with the Tinkermen and FPL Football on Friday. Aaron Lager, Ricky Saunders, Leicester v Tottenham Saturday. Deadline stream Sunday. As said, we will continue podding on Sky for the next few weeks.
Indeed. And then today we are releasing for our Patreons Tottenham. Tomorrow is a quiz which the patrons get each and every Thursday. Friday, differential show before the weekend.
Why do I feel this is going to be a very Harry Kane dominated podcast that might be coming up?
It might be. And while we mentioned Patreon, you can find out more about Patreon at patreon.com/planetfpl. If you sign up now in May, June and July are free of charge. If you sign up in June, July is free of charge. So now's as good a time as any to get your head into the community, our Slack channel, which has got hundreds of people interacting. A really, really good, helpful, friendly community to be a part of. Why not try it out and see if it's something you want to do next season?
Oh, shout out to Frank as well at FF Stuff.
Yes.
And his site has been so handy for so many Sky players this year. And it just
keeps adding more and more features. So if you do need any stats and data, it's definitely worth it. It's very Sky-led more than FPL and the other games as well. So yeah, big shout out to Frank for that as well. Thank you very much. That's a lot of blurb. Should we just end it?
Yeah, fuck it.
Stay safe. Ciao for now.
Good luck, everyone. Cue music, please, man child.
Okay.
Fantasy Football Show.